How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. The next couple days could be really interesting for crypto. There might be a lot of volatility. I want to talk to you about that. I also have some good news for crypto holders. I also have some big new updates for Ethereum. And then I also want to talk about just mindset. And I do have a couple of big pieces of news that I will be talking about tomorrow. So if you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I do appreciate that. We'll talk about a sponsor of the channel here in a second, but you can see that the overall crypto market is looking better today. The crypto market's up about 4%. While the stock market is up pretty substantially as well, with the NASDAQ up about 2.27. And part of this might be because yesterday we got the Fed minutes, and these were in the past, obviously, but there's not one mention of recession. There's a lot of mentions of inflation, and we also took the 100 basis point hikes off the table, saying that they will really focus on 50 to 75 basis point hikes going forward. We also have oil going down a bit. Now, it is up throughout the day today, but overall, since the peak a couple months ago, it actually isn't up too much. We've actually come down a decent amount since just about a month ago, where it was 122 per barrel, now just about 103. It was under 100 for the first time in a while just the other day. Now, I do want to say we have updates from some of the major exchanges here. We talked about how FTX agreed with BlockFi for a deal for up to $240 million worth of equity and with a revolving credit line. So out of all the different places, I've talked about how Binance and FTX probably are two of the safest places. BlockFi might be a pretty safe place as well now because of the fact that they do have FTX kind of bailing them out and handing them a credit line. I kind of think of it as like, have you ever gone to a restaurant like Chipotle after they got shut down for some kind of health issue? When you go back to it, it's probably one of the safest places to go because there are just so many precautions now set up and everyone's looking for things. So now is probably a good time to be going with BlockFi as well. Now, I understand if you don't want to go with BlockFi, but there is a link to them underneath the video. They are a sponsor of the channel. Just something that I was kind of thinking about the other day. It really reminds me of going to a restaurant after they reopen after some kind of health scare. Now, with that in mind, we do have news from Celsius. They have now paid off their loan to Maker, which is pretty big news. A lot of people were worried about this. We were talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin being flooded on the open market. And this is after we had seen this happen with Luna. We were really worried about this. And with 3 Arrows Capital also doing something similar, we could have had a lot of negative price action. And a lot of people were getting ready for this because at one point the liquidation price was like $20,000 or $22,000. And then they kept on paying it off. So it seems like they're getting money from somewhere. Just a question of where at this point because they haven't announced anything. Now, another interesting piece of news, Korean startup Uprise lost $20 million shorting Luna Classic. This AI trading platform was shorting on the way down, and somehow they still got liquidated. This led them to lose 20 million in customer losses and 3 million in its own losses. So they lost 99% of their assets, and they were on the right side of the trade, really, because they were shorting with one of the worst crashes of all time, and they still got liquidated. So you have to be really careful. Just a reminder of that. Now, a couple big things coming up here soon. We have CPI coming out next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, I should say, on the 13th of July. A lot of people will be looking for this now. We just talked about how oil prices are going down. We might start to see that, but we will probably see that on the next reading back in August because it will catch July's CPI. So it will be interesting. Hopefully we don't see that 9 mark. 9 would be really bearish, I think, for the market. If we start moving back down again, maybe the market feels like that's a good step in the right direction. Then we also start to get earnings again. This isn't that crazy to think about, but JPM has their earnings starting next week. The bank stocks usually go first. Then there's another week of some earnings, and then usually a week after that are the tech stocks. I believe the tech companies are reporting not the week after JPM, but the week after that, so late July. Should be interesting to see how they're all doing. A lot of the tech stocks aren't advertising. They're probably going to get hit or probably aren't doing as well because of just businesses worried about recession, but also you still need to advertise to sell products, right? So that will be interesting to see. And then anyone with a lot of shipping will probably be hit hard as well. We do have a lot of a lot of potential energy here in the crypto market. You can see Bitcoin's approaching 21,000 while futures open interest screams higher. So this is basically just showing that there is a lot of leverage positions in the market, a lot of bets being made. You can see right down here, a lot of open interest, and we are moving higher. So we might see some volatility here. Same thing with Ethereum down here. It's looking good overall for the crypto market as of now, but just be ready, just in case we do see a big drop. Might be a good time to continue dollar cost averaging. And then we did get some news from Ethereum. Testnet merge mostly successful. There were some hiccups, so they had a percentage, about 20 to 30% of validators went offline after the merge due to wrong configurations, but overall this went pretty well. Now they have one more trial for the merge, and it is on the Goerli network over the next few weeks, and then the merge on the mainnet can be given the go ahead. So just be on the lookout for that. If that goes well, it will probably be good for Ethereum. Once we move over to proof of stake, it's going to be really bullish, especially because something that I used to not understand, and a lot of other people I've seen talk about this as well. Right when the merge happens, the contract doesn't get released. So it's not like we're going to be flooded with a bunch of Ethereum on the open market. People are going to sell. That happens over time, and it happens at a later date from the merge. So when the merge happens, that's going to be really good just because it will make Ethereum deflationary overall, probably about 2%. Now, maybe it's not deflationary right now just because there's so little happening on the network compared to just a few months ago, but it will still make it a lot less inflationary. And then this is just a really important reminder. I think this is just a cool thing to talk about. America bought California from Mexico for $15 million after the Great War, or after the War of 1848. Lesson learned, never sell great assets, coming from Ross Gerber. That's amazing to think about. Even though it was a long time ago, right? 170, 180 years ago. That is still a steal of a deal. Think about the return on that. Now, California is the largest state in terms of GDP. It actually has 15% of our US GDP just from California. And this is with a lot of people leaving California as well. Still $3.4 trillion. Each year, they're getting around 250 billion US dollars just in state income. So the US probably makes double that, give or take. It's hard to know exactly. I couldn't find a number on it, but the US makes $400 to $500 billion a year in tax revenue off of something that they bought for $15 million. That's just crazy to think about, right? They are making 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, like 30,000x a year on their investment that they made 180 years ago. So just a good reminder that you really should hold on to assets that are quality assets, even through ups and downs, even through fear, uncertainty, and doubt, assuming they have a strong business model, a good moat, they're in a good cash position, and you're not leveraged. So just keep that in mind. Now, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video, which is going to be some big news. Thanks.